Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new crypto update. Today we're going to speak especially about BTC. As you guys can see in front of the screen, we played out a very good Bitcoin buy that we spoke about in our last update. Make sure to follow and be up to date with all of the new updates coming. We are smashing the trades and all of the updates are going pretty well, I must say, guys. But yeah, let's get into the market. What is about Bitcoin? Where are we going? Where are we heading? What is happening? We're going to speak about that right now. So the very first thing that is insanely important is that, as you can see, we just closed a very profitable trade with 6.4% on BTC. I personally had a 30x leverage, so obviously very good trade. And we spoke about this trade last week. We said there's two scenarios for BTC right now. First scenario is going to be we go basically up from here into the bearish correction level, and then from here we're going to start to go down to the 100k, and that's pretty much still what I'm thinking of pursuing here in BTC. That's why I took my profit. The biggest orders are sitting at 117,600, 170,000, around that. So higher than that, most likely it's not gonna go for now, but we're gonna speak about that in a second, right? Overall, we are in an interesting area for BTC in my opinion, because at the end of the day, as you can see, this was the last all-time high here at 126,000. Then we had the big liquidation event, obviously, that created this insane wick. From there, we started to, correct a little bit sideways, really get some energy here in the fair value gap. We perfectly gapped into the fair value gap, retested the fair value gap, hold very strong, and from here we started to build a bullish active trend, right? And this bullish active trend for now remains active. We just have to see how it plays out, because at the end of the day, if we draw the sequence, the target for this bullish sequence currently sits at over or close to the last all-time high, right? So this is basically the current sequence that we are in. This sequence is active, so we have a very high probability of working out. But when it comes to the trade, I just took it out because I wanted to make sure to lock in these profits, because we are in this very undecisive area right now for BTC, which is at the end of the day here the area where we are dipping into, and we need to see how we react in BTC here in this bearish correction level, which is the one that I'm pushing now to the right side, right? This is a bearish correction level. Why? Because if you take the last all-time high and the new low we created, the liquidation low, this is here the selling area, and now we need to see if the bulls or the bears are winning. So we are in a zone where we need to see who is going to win, and so far we are getting a lot of sell pressure. We're going to talk about that here in a second. And you can see that pretty well if we go into the daily chart for BTC USDT. On the order book side, you can see there is some good orders coming in. Let's rather go into the H4. It's a little bit easier for you guys to identify. And as you can see here, we have strong sell orders that came in our last candle, 222 million. And then the next one start at 117.60. That's the black mark over here that we marked out. So there is a pretty strong ceiling, to be quite honest, right now, and there's not a lot of buys coming in. We can also see that pretty well here on Market Monkey. You can see we are approaching the previous month high over here at 117.9, nearly close to 118,000, right? And so far it still looks pretty good, to be very honest. But then also you can see that we are starting to have strong sell orders coming in at these were previous ones, right? As you can see, previously the level was very strong over here, kind of like went away. So there's still potential to go up, but then again, we have very strong orders so far placed at 120,000, and then obviously very strong ceiling here at it's not that strong. Stronger one is this one for sure, with 150 million in volume. But order wise, here we have 65 million and 65 million open positions, right? So it kind of like seems we are fading out in the strength of BTC, but that also has a lot to do now with the upcoming news that we're going to speak about in a second, that are going to be very important, because we had a lot of strong fundamentals we need to speak about this week. And then you see here was a lot of buys coming in. So I think, to be quite honest, in BTC, what is going to happen if we look at all of this is something like this. I think we're still going to maybe dip and then come up somewhere over here and then really come for a re-entry, or even then break below. Depends a lot now on the fundamentals, depends a lot on America, on the Dixie, on a lot of things, but we'll speak about them in a second. So fundamentally, you're also informed and you know what's happening, okay? But at the end of the day, there is and there's more sell orders coming in, as you can see right now. So there is a big ceiling being formed for a correction, and that's pretty much where most likely we're gonna go, as we just said. So that's for BTC, guys. Let's speak about Ethereum. Ethereum, there's really nothing happening a lot. As you guys know, Ethereum is always doing the same thing, and that's nothing. We are continuously in a bearish sequence, as you can see. We also obviously had this correction, a high pretty similar to BTC, right? You can see it's pretty much the same price action. But at the end of the day, we are still in a bearish sequence, in an active bearish sequence, and a strong active sequence, as you can see over here. So BTC continues for me to be neutral to bearish, and then bullish again. And here Ethereum continues to be very, very bearish, okay? Two coins that are performing pretty well. One of them is Aave. We've been trading it a lot over the last couple of days. Aave is doing pretty well, and INA, both of them have the highest inflow. So if you are trading any cryptos, altcoins, then Aave and INA makes a lot of sense in my opinion, especially if we go into our Nansen tool. You can see Aave has the 7 days most inflow now. BGB is coming in very strong, and INA and Link and SPX and Render, all the rest, the other ones are all negative, as you can see in net inflow. So smart money inflow, these are only smart money wallets. Where is their money flowing in? Number one, BGB, Aave, INA, Link, SPX, Render, and the rest is having outflow, right? You can see Rep BNB, near Pepe, Ethereum, SPX, here on the Ethereum chain, on the base chain, it's increasing, yeah. But on the other ones here, you can see IMX, they're all selling off, and a lot of money is going out of there, okay? So what we're gonna be focused on are mainly these coins over here. And then including to that, we have Link, right, which we are currently in profit slightly, but Link definitely is a good re-entry. Now we need to see to come to the re-entry and how it continues. We are still in a very strong downtrend. Same thing for Aave, also still in a very strong downtrend. But going from BTC and then duplicating it into all of the other markets in crypto, I'm gonna continue to be long until we hit 117, and then from here we're gonna start to see how price action starts to move. If we go higher, okay, then we go higher, but we're gonna more be focused on selling BTC, depending on the fundamentals, and about these fundamentals we need to speak right now. Market Journal, basically, you can get a free subscription for that, and it will update you every Sunday with the most important things in the market, right? And if you go into Ask ChatGPT, which I did, I always use Atlas, which is the new ChatGPT Safari, basically, a web browser. I just go into, okay, what exactly sum this up, okay? And here's a very good sum up here on the right side. As you can see, oil supply shock sanctions on Rosneft, and Lukoil can choke Russian oil exports, blah, 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 blah. That's not so interesting for us. But if gold goes higher, then yields and inflation is rising. So rising oil often drags yields up. If a 10-year yields climbing, equities, especially tech, will likely be under pressure. So stocks will be under pressure. If the US 10-year treasury yield, if it breaks higher, expect continued rotation out of growth stocks, okay? So then dollar strength, which is going to be very important for us in crypto, a risk off move and higher yields usually push the dollar up, right? So stronger Dixie hurts risk assets, and gold weakens, helps crypto and equities, right? So if Dixie continues to go up, right, then it's not so good for crypto, okay? If Dixie now continues to go down, which is dipping right now, which is doing, then crypto will continue to go up, because if Dixie goes up, crypto goes down, right? So if we here increase, then crypto will go down. But if we decrease here, right, in the Dixie, then crypto will go up. And we are seeing the direct correlation right now, because Dixie is dropping a little bit. At the same time, BTC is getting bought up again, and pretty positive after this candle, okay? So right now it still seems to be a little bit more bullish, but reminding ourselves of the very strong sells we have over here, and that we are in a bearish sequence, okay? On top of that, what is going to be very important for us here in the news side is that Bitcoin resilience, BTC hovering around 110, 11K means traders are treating it like digital gold. If it breaks the 110K with volume, momentum continues, right? So if you break the 110K range, and we are currently sitting at 115, 110 is somewhere over here. If we stay above it, if we push higher than that, and we break through this bearish sequence, then Bitcoin continues to be very bullish, and we could look for a re-entry. So if something like this, for example, happens, it's a clear sign, and here we could re-enter, right? If not, what is going to happen basically is that we're going to drop pretty low, build a bearish sequence, have struggled to go higher and sell, excuse me, and sell off to 100K, right? These are the two scenarios right now that I'm looking at for BTC, okay? What else is important in the news side? Powell's speech, right? That's going to be really important on the 30th of October, which I guess is Thursday. And that's a wild card. Any mention of oil driving inflation or rate policy could set the tone for everything: stocks, crypto, gold, and FX, right? So it really comes down now until Thursday. What is going to be the decision on the rates? Because we have Powell's speech, right? If we're going to continue with the rate cuts, if we are increasing the rates again, if we're going to speak about oil and the driven inflation because of that, because if oil goes up, and that's what we're seeing right now. If you guys follow me here to the US oil chart, you can see we had a big increase, and if oil goes up, inflation always rises, right? Because everything is made out of oil, so prices for industrial, for the industry at the end of the day, for all of the industries increase, right? So if Powell on the 30th of October says any mentions of oil-driven inflation or rate policy could set the tone for everything, okay? So that's very, very important. And then we have core PCE, okay? Fed's favorite inflation measure, a hot number, right? No rate cuts, market pain, okay? So we need to see what happens here. And then geopolitical heat, obviously Israel, Iran tensions, and then Russia retaliation risk can trigger another spike in energy and safe haven flows, right? So we need to see if this geopolitical heat continues, then obviously more money will go into gold and crypto and these kind of things. And if not, it's going to cycle out into more risk off stuff, okay? So we need to see what the market is going to do. So it's a very decisive, it's a very important week right now on how we're going to decide to continue to trade the markets for the end of the year. But for now, that is the game plan that we are following, right? And with that being said, guys, make sure to follow, stay up to date. Follow me on Instagram. I always post about trades, news, everything there. And if you want to join my free value channel, click the link below. You get all the information and even free trades sometimes. See you in the next one.